The straight-sword hilt is a weapon which is given to the player to convey a message. If the game feels too hard right now, maybe there's something else you can do. With time, however, Dark Souls received this reputation of being the hardest game known to man, which in turn caused the straight-sword hilt's message to be understood as, the game is meant to be hard, so it's time for you to get good right off the bat. But what if we take this message to heart and make the straight-sword hilt our only catalyst of damage for the entire game? Well, this is what this run is about. The rules are simple. All damage must be dealt with the hilt in hand with either the normal or the strong attack. Shields, spell tools, items, etc. are allowed. Spells are allowed as long as they are not causing direct damage. So Dark Moonblade is a-okay, since the damage it produces comes from it being added to our weapon and is thus indirect damage. And something like Karmic Justice is not. Even though the damage is not inflicted directly on cast, it is still damage that results directly from the spell. It would only be okay if its effect would trigger upon hitting an enemy with the hilt. And to make things a bit easier, you're allowed to do skips like jumping over geometry meant to block your path. And one last thing to mention, before the run begins, most of the footage was recorded on stream, which is why I'm also in the bottom right corner here, but thankfully most of the action is in the center. And with that, let's get this run started. After waking up in a cell, I already am equipped with my weapon of choice, the straight-sword hilt, a weapon that deals a whopping 2 damage to most enemies. And without taking too long, it is time for the first boss, the Asylum Demon. The Asylum Demon has a total of 825 HP, which is rather low and usually it doesn't take long to deplete that. But with the hilt you can measure his health in required hits, and of those you need a total of 412. This still won't take too long, provided you don't die. Shit. That was stupid of me. I think I might go with a backing in and out strategy. Not like that. So, 2 deaths and roughly 50 minutes later, the Asylum Demon succumbs to a death by 1,000 cuts. Is he still taking damage? I didn't know that. I didn't know that the last section could not count down any further. So I was like, oh no, is he bugged? With the door open, I'll meet the crow that brings me to Lordran, thus ringing in the Age of Progress. Arriving in Firelink Shrine, I quickly grab a few items and off I go, with no complications whatsoever. Yeah, dude, shit. To fully activate the run, I first must go through the Undead Burg and buy the Residence Key. I might die here. Yeah. And climb up. No, that was stupid. Well, that's... yeah. I can then take a plunge and jump down to the lower Undead Burg. Now is gonna be the actual dangerous part, if I fuck it up. With no broken bones and some crispy dogs ready, I free my important friend, Griggs. I then follow him to Firelink Shrine. Not wanting to dirty my hands with an unwanted follower, I thought I'd let Petrus take care of it for me. He was however not in the mood to do that. This caused me to both die... I actually died, shit. And later make a small but fun discovery. Why am I so stupid? After 90 minutes and a flat 10 deaths, I finally get my first source of real damage. Magic Weapon. A spell that adds magic damage equals to my catalyst's magic adjust times 0.8. Anyways, all I need to do now is a little boss rush and I'm done, right? Yeah. First up was the Taurus Demon, which caused no problems and went down within seconds. Or maybe that was actually me. Of course that was just a fluke on my part, and it didn't take long to take him to the slaughter and turn him into a tasty burger. Okay, at least you can cancel the buff and you don't have to wait for it to run out. But see, this is why the Asylum Demon is probably gonna be one of the hardest bosses in this run. This actually might not be as hard as I initially thought. And before moving on, I also spent way too long messing around with the Hellkite Dragon. I really thought with my endless power that I can get a tail cut on him. Shit. What? Yeah, this attack is... I don't know how to dodge this one. Okay, this is the... yeah. How did I not die there? I don't know. But... okay, just spam me then. Not where I want to be. That's for sure. And he does the one hit. 14 deaths later, I decide to give up and move on to the Undead Parish. This is where it became clear to me that I might not be as strong as I thought, since the Black Knight on top of the tower was crushing me completely. I did not waste much time on him though, and ran to Andre to start upgrading my Hilt. The increase in damage was unfathomable. It went from 1 damage to the hollows to an unprecedented 2. It's not much, but at this point I can only increase my damage with weapon upgrades and by increasing my int stat. There is one exception though, getting the Ulasil Ivory Catalyst, which has a fixed magic adjust of 180. All other catalysts I can get right now won't catch up to this until I reach 27 int. To get it though, I would have to kill the Hydra. Now, I didn't do this, but you can at this point kill the Hydra relatively quickly, thanks to the fact that it is one of the few or only enemies in Dark Souls that have an alternative kill condition. As the wiki states, both the heads and the overall health regenerate after visiting a bonfire. However, once every head is chopped off, regardless of how much health the Hydra has remaining, the creature will die. You might now think that I only have 5 casts of magic weapon to pull this off, but in truth I have as many as I want. Why, you ask? Because the wiki is wrong. You can actually go and rest at a bonfire. The Hydra's heads only regenerate when it is deloaded, like when you die or move to a different area. And there just so happens to be a bonfire in the Darkroot Basin that you can use to top up your Estus and magic weapon casts. As I said, I decided not to get the catalyst, but I wanted to mention this, since it is one of these weird things I only found out while doing this run. And hey, if someone watching chooses to do a Straight-Sword Hilt run, then this might come in handy. Moving along, it became time to make my way to the gargoyles. That didn't work well. Yeah, in parry stance. Oh, come on. However, 30 deaths in, I came to realize that I still struggle against slightly tougher enemies. It also doesn't help that the area is filled almost to the brim. I do have to admit though, that I am slightly ashamed with how much I struggle against the Boulder Knight that is guarding the stairs. Before I went crazy, I decided to relocate back to Firelink Shrine, to at least cut out the 3 hollows outside. This led me to reaching the Channeler quickly enough, but I was no match for him on the first try. Oh, come on, how did that hit me? Undeterred, I stormed the castle once again to rid the world of this evil creature, but greed is always on the forefront of my deaths. I perished with 6 Estus remaining. What? Didn't know you can do a 360. After a long and arduous fight, the Channeler passed and there was nothing left in my way to the gargoyles. This however was not my immediate goal. First I wanted to get my buddy Lordtrek to help me out. But since I usually play with the master key, I forgot to get the key to his cell. So I thought I might as well go give the gargoyles a try. This worked out as well as you'd think. The other guy is already here, shit. And I dodged into the fire. I then instead went to get the key. Why not? And now with the Chandler gone, it was a cinch to get back to Lautrec. I then gave him some love taps so that he'll give me the fap. I quickly realized, however, that the fappening was not happening. Later though, I figured out that all it takes is some encouragement and a nice scenery for him to give it up willingly. Until then, I gave the gargoyles another try. Or two. Oh, come on. That was enough distance. Or 9. I came close to beating them, but I still managed to mess up right at the end. Yeah, don't let the flame get you. Well, the flame got me. Twice. Ah, fuck. No. Oh, come on. Yeah. And after a total of 48 deaths and 2 bosses dead, I decided to end this first session for the night. Before I continued my struggle, I decided to first get the Grass Crest shield, but I didn't care too much for the knight and the hope of getting his weapon, so I died to him. Afterwards, I went back to Lautrec and lured him outside. Shit. Fuck! And after a slight misstep, Lautrec decided to end it all himself. This then allowed me to grab the fab ring from his cell after a quick quit out. With my gear being fully assembled, it was time to go finally beat the gargoyles. But I am going to complain about that. Fuck. I almost had it. Yeah. Fuck. This is the second run that died to this. Not getting out of the walkway. At least I got all the iframes. Yeah, the rest is easy, right? There you go, that's how you do it. After turning the gargoyles into nothing more than cat litter, I rang the first bell of awakening. With some more souls put into Int, I made my way to slay the Capra demon. This, however, proved to be difficult, as the Hilt's worst property started to shine, the god-awful hitbox, which can barely hit the dogs. Yeah, that was not good. I really need to get rid of the dogs. After a while, the Capra demon's death becomes more out of reach, as I struggle to even get to him. Like what's with the hitboxes today as well? I feel like I get constantly boxed in here. This streak only lasted so long, however. I won't survive long. This continues. Yeah, that's not good. Let me through. Oy. While passing through the fog gate, I died for the 69th time, and this to a bandit. I was confused as to what was happening and asked myself if I'm accidentally playing Dark Souls 2. That could have been... shit. One more death later, I managed to get rid of the dogs, leaving the Capra demon exposed, showing just how weak and frail he truly is. Oh, yes. I'm so glad this boss didn't take me another 5 hours, seemingly. Come on. Don't get greedy now, thank you. And the dogs will storm in, so I also need to prepare for that. The residents of the lower undead burg, however, didn't want me to leave, but failed to take into consideration that I could just use a homeward bone. Next up, I partook in another rescue mission, but failed the first time around. This did, however, not deter me, since I needed the pyromancy flame to later on channel the power within. Everything was ready for me to head into the depths, an area I skip in most of my runs, which caused me to be a little lost at first. And even though it isn't Blighttown, I managed to get my first death to poison. With the upcoming boss having quite a large health pool and me having almost 20k souls, I made my way back to Firelink Shrine. I was however short on just 1k souls, leading me to gather some in the Undead Burg. After a stupid death, I was worried that my souls are now in the lower Undead Burg. I headed back and thankfully found them at the bottom of the ladder. 20k souls in hand, I marched back and secured my lingering Dragon Crest ring, extending the length of spells by 50%. It is noteworthy to add that the lingering Dragon Crest ring also affects pyromancies, such as Power Within. Without the ring, it would deal 1% of damage over a duration of 100 seconds, and now with the ring it deals roughly 0.67% over the duration of 150 seconds. This means not only do I get more time of increased damage, but I also don't die as fast. The Gaping Dragon, although fierce looking, proved to be no challenge. The big arena and his slow and big movements made this a deathless fight. I say and I get really greedy and almost die. Oh. A fitting state of affairs as the next area was the dreaded Blight Town. What the fuck was that? On my way down, it became time to obtain my next big damage increase. Power Within. A pyromancy which increases my damage by 40% and is guarded by a nasty creature feeding on the wastes from above, which has made the maze-like Blight Town its home. And I got Power Within, okay, fantastic. Oops, that's not what I meant to do. I admittedly was a bit lost, just like in the depths, but it didn't take long for me to reach the swampy bottom. 80. Okay, Power Within does work. Power Within does work. After almost another deathless fight, I made an absolute beginner mistake and rolled into the lava. Fuck, do something stupid like this. I'm too close. Yeah. Oh, I survived that. Oh, I'm already out of Estus. That's not good. What? Okay, but that's it. Prologue, you are donezo. Officially. Despite losing a few more times, I can say with confidence that Prologue is simple and not hard to defeat. With this victory in hand, it came time for me to ring the second bell of awakening, opening the gates to Sen's Fortress. However, while I was still already here, I might as well do Ceaseless Discharge. Fuck. Is he gonna do it? No? Shit. Huh? Nope. Oh, he is. I messed up a few times, but in no time flat, I turned the Ceaseless Discharge into the Ceased Discharged. I love that this is a mechanic. It's so good. Other games should do that as well. For now, I had to bid adieu to one of the lowest and start my ascent towards one of the highest points in Lordran. Prologue's one of the Isolith witches move in. Fuck. I mean, it was worth sacrificing the souls for that. Having like a little bit, probably not just gonna play it ever. Shit. Of course this happens. Works. Oh, okay. Come a bit closer. I wanted to do that to you, my friend. I messed up my parry, that's for sure. Oops. Oh, yeah. Didn't consider that. That's the reason I'm almost dead. Actually, good amount. Shit. Having escaped Blight Town, I decided to first clean up shop a little and go swat the Moonlight Butterfly. A boss which usually provides no challenge and can be beaten very quickly, turned into a battle of attrition as I only had so many casts and Estus for fighting him. Just like with butter that you take freshly out of the fridge, taking a while until you can spread it with your butter knife, the Moonlight Butterfly takes a while until I'm able to squash it with my straight sword hilt. After spending so much time with the Moonlight Butterfly, I thought that I could fly myself, but landed flat on my face. What didn't land flat on its face though is my mission to rescue Big Head Logan from Sen's Fortress. Not only does he provide me with 5 more casts of magic weapon, but he also starts his journey in parallel to mine, so that I can obtain ultimate power. Remember how Petrus let himself be killed by a straight hollow? Well, it turns out I was blamed for that, and now had to deal with 3 NPCs being mad at me. This, however, led me to discover something I've never known. The pathing of non-player units is not updated to reflect the hole that Framed comes out of. All you need to do is quickly run to the opposite side, and NPCs will gladly plunge to their deaths. Oh. By making this discovery, my brain started to fire on all cylinders, and made me remember that I should go and grab the peculiar doll from the asylum. While I was there, I thought I'd give the old stray demon a try. Come on, stop spamming this. What? Shit! I just, you know... What? But alas, at 100 deaths flat, I gave up and just quickly went to grab the doll. And it now was time to go put some dents into the Iron Golem. Oh, no! Or not, since I decided to actually first go take a spin at the old pinwheel. After being boxed in, I make my way through the catacombs the fast way. Almost destined to fail. Hopefully... shit. And without too much trouble get past the bone wheels. As I was fighting Pinwheel, I thought for a split second that he could be a problem, but my worries were for naught as the pin drops and the wheel stops spinning. With the Rite of Kindling in hand, it was time to ascend Sen's Fortress again. This time slaying the bomb-throwing giant. With nothing in the way, I challenged the Iron Golem again, and he turns out to be less of an Iron Golem and more of an Aluminum Golem. His patterns are simple and his openings are large, leading him to crumble in no time flat. I now get hoisted up to Honor Londo, where the sun shines bright and my power begins to bloom like a flower. Before that, it is however time to have a rematch with the gargoyles, but before I could take care of it, I get invaded by someone. Not wanting to deal with 2 enemies, especially with one of them having Dark Souls' horrible netcode on the side, I decided to run away. However, the invader either fell off or decided to run away himself. I mean, who wouldn't against the power of the hilt? I now climbed up the rafters, where I break the chains holding back my power. Lowering the stairs, I make my way towards the center of the room, running with all my might, dodging the painting guardians, and thus getting my hands on the Great Magic Weapon. Great Magic Weapon works the same as the regular magic weapon, but it adds magic damage to a weapon equals to 1.1 times our magic adjust stat. Giddy with excitement to test out my new toy, I rush to the next bonfire only to be shot in the back. Oh no. After a loading screen, I attune Great Magic Weapon and test it on the gargoyle, which is now no longer able to rival me, crumbling within seconds. After a little more trouble, the second gargoyle goes down as well. With only the archers in the way, I run to the next bonfire, which is the last resting spot before Ornstein and Smo. And after some small detours, like visiting the giant blacksmith, I enter the fog gate prepared to be fighting the duo for the next hour or 2. However, the first hit changed how I viewed this fight. Just look at the damage. Yeah, fuck. 2 unfortunate deaths later and Onsen and Smo were no more. At this point I honestly thought that I was going to steamroll the rest of the game. Before that though, I first take in the fantastic view, receive the Lord Vessel, and move on to the Duke's archives. Since the world is fully open now, I first wanted to grab hold of the very large ember and thus moved to New Londo. Since I couldn't use a bow, I had to go up the ghost house and speak to the man face to face, so that I can get the key to the seal. Yeah, it's actually a bit hard to get through here. Oops. Didn't mean to do that. After draining New Londo, I tried to sightsee a bit, but died an unfortunate death. That's quite a few ghosts. I then got my act together, quickly run through everything and grabbed the very large ember. Now you might be wondering, Yaku, why do you grab the ember? It's not like the hilt at plus 15 does much damage, right? And to that I have to say, yes, it is not needed, but come on, having a straight sword hilt at plus 15 is just funny. Anyways, making my way downtown, walking fast, faces pass, and I'm homeboned. To the archives I go, where I face a little trouble. The pigs barely take any damage. Oh, yeah. I try to lure the pigs away with no success and move on. Still he deals a lot of damage. Yeah. That didn't work quite well. After succumbing twice, I didn't want to run past the pigs anymore. At that point I remembered that the pigs can be reset when quitting out. The bonfire was still not usable though, thanks to the second pig being too close. After some deliberation, I just started to slap the bacon until it was tender. Thankfully, there's a nice spot by the elevator where the pig can pass through. After quite a while the pig had enough of my hilt, and I can go activate the bonfire to make myself a pig roast. After dying to Thief and waking up in a cell, I had a moment of shock when I failed to hit the guard holding the key. After trying some more, it worked though, and the prison break commences. I first had to leave the prison tower myself, which I did very quickly. That's about 12,000 souls lost, so yeah. Afterwards, I rushed to get the key to Logan's cell, homeward boned back, ran down the stairs, and there's another one of you? Cleaned up Thief's experiments, and freed my boy. With everything ready, I tried to get back to the archive bonfire as fast as possible, but maybe I was just too greedy. Shit. And I, for whatever reason, then tried to open a mimic and added one more death to the counter. But now it was time to acquire our last magic spell, the Crystal Magic Weapon. It adds a total amount of magic damage to the hilt based on the magic adjust times 1.4. I at first deliberated to buy out Logan to later get his catalyst. Thus I moved on to fight Thief for his souls and almost got him on the first try. Oh no! Oh, I was so close, shit. After that embarrassment though, I had to vent my frustration to Logan, slapping him around until he crumbled to dust, netting me the tin crystallization catalyst. That's right, Logan drops the TCC once he moves to the archives. Many people get this wrong and think you need to buy him out, or that he drops the TCC only in Thief's first arena. The wikis also word this a bit confusing, so I can understand why people think that. But why is the TCC so desirable as to kill a good friend like Logan? Well, it halves the amount of spellcasts you have, but in turn it provides the highest magic adjust starting from 32 int onwards. With this new power in hand, it was time to pummel Thief. Oh, come on. Yeah. What was that? No shit. Ah, fuck. This, however, didn't work out as well as I hoped, and I even got cursed. So, while I got a stone from a merchant, I decided to go back to the Undead Asylum to get my revenge on the Stray Demon. And, well, he went down in 45 seconds. And now, Oh, yeah, that's a whole different ballpark. He has no chance, holy shit. Yeah, that was not very hard. Now was it? Holy shit, 300 damage with the straight sword hilt. Oh boy, am I actually strong now? Well, victory and Titanite Slab in hand, I return to fight Seath. To the wall. Fuck. Oh fuck, oh fuck. Ah. Where am I? Fuck. Thanks to his magic resistance, it took a while to defeat him, but after 36 minutes and 7 deaths, Seath the Scaleless becomes Seath the Lifeless. Oh! Following that, I didn't want to beat around the bush for long, and it was time to fight Sith. Despite his and my hitboxes not working well together, it doesn't take long before he follows his owner into the afterlife. And dead. First try, very simple. Too bad for the dog. With the Covenant of Artorias in my possession, I make my way through the rest of New Londo to go fight the Four Kings. The closer I got, the more worry started to set in, since the Four Kings are known to be a bit of a DPS check. Will this fight drag on? Will I die 30 or 40 times in a row? Well, I'm now in the Abyss and there's only one thing I can do. Now wait a second. Enhance. Enhance again. 325 damage? That's right, not only do I deal 325 damage, but the Hilt's moveset also allows me to land a couple of hits between the king's attacks. I thought I was gonna be swarmed by all kings, but instead I had to wait for each one to appear. That's right, the Four Kings turned to 3, then 2, then 1, and at the end there were none. Confident, I march through the painted world. I quickly take care of the dragon and go meet the fluff. Fuck. Oh, yeah, Power Within is gonna kill me, I want to say, and then it happened. I initially messed up, but quickly remedied the situation. The hilt itself is not strong enough to get Priscilla out of her invisibility, so before I knew it, I had a new fur coat to wear. Also, I'm not someone to let family wait, so next I went to fight Gwyndolin. Before that, however, I had to defeat the real boss a few times, this big statue of Gwyn. Once through, I quickly take care of him. Ah. No wait, I died and had to re-disappear the statue, and this every single time. I know that I can just go and grab the ring, but I just prefer this method. So yeah, chasing him to the back is gonna be my golden strategy. And after a while I got the timing down anyways, and now it was up to the feisty boy to pull off a good attack pattern. That was stupid of me. And soon enough, Gwyndolin becomes Gwyndogon. I then also grabbed the Sunlight Blade, even though I had no intention of using it at this point. However, it will become an important asset later on. With only 2 Lord Souls remaining, I've returned to the Demon Ruins and made my way to the Isolith boss gauntlet. The Demon Fire Sage, just like his 2 cousins, gets his flames snuffed out, showing again how I am somewhat OP now. Next up was the Centipede Demon, and what can I say, he was squashed like the bug that he is. I now made my way to the Bed of Chaos, easily taking out his 2 arms, but falling a bit too short when jumping to his roots. After a quick run back and almost dying not once, not twice, but thrice, I quickly went and squashed that bug as well. Why does Dark Souls have so many bugs? Anyways, 1 Lord Soul is remaining. Despite being OP, accidents happen. I think the only thing... Shit. More than once at that. The 3 of you guys. Yeah. I also had a bad encounter with a surprise Black Knight, but then soon enough I reached Nido. He did lock me into a corner and almost boned me. Yeah. There's nothing about that I could have done. But I instead broke all of his bones. Well, off I go to defeat Gwyn and finish this amazing run. Is what I would have said, but the DLC exists. So off I went to challenge the Hydra, but while I was there I overstepped my boundaries a little bit. The only problem is going to be the last head. Oh. And that. With my lesson learned, I sit down at the closest bonfire and go try the Hydra again. As you recall, the Hydra has 2 kill conditions. One was to lop off all of its heads and the other to deplete its health. Turns out I'm more than powerful enough to get its health to 0 before all the heads are gone. Next comes the Golden Crystal Golem, which serves as a very subtle foreshadowing of what is to come. Not wanting to leave unfinished business behind, I return to give the Hellkite Dragon some heat. Yeah... I messed that one up. Well, he got one on me, but I also finally managed to get the Drake Sword cut. I honestly think that with a regular weapon it is much easier and less time consuming than the bow cut. That being said, he kills me once again. So yeah, it's not just purely physical damage based. I misremembered that then. And again when I went to get my souls back. I thus acknowledge that my rivalry with it is still burning bright, so I'll move on. One golem later I finally entered the DLC, but not before dying again. I then arrived in the Sanctuary Garden, and this is where the run really started to fall apart. This is because every boss from now on has strong resistance to magic, essentially reducing my damage to a third or even a quarter of its former glory. So now it was time for me to fight the Sanctuary Guardian, the only DLC boss with a sensible boss runback. One thing I also learned while fighting him is that he likes to use attacks, such as flying around, that waste time which I don't have. With that being said, how do I stack up against the easiest DLC boss? Did I deal just 84 damage? Ooh. Yeah, that was stupid. Yeah. But I think I'm starting to get his patterns. Yeah, that was... I wouldn't want to deal with it otherwise. Commentary right now. Ah. Oh boy. This is going to take a while. Keep closing them. Yeah, that was... Yeah. Sometimes I feel like it eats the rolls. Yeah, that was stupid. Usually... At this point, I really just hoped that the rest of the DLC wouldn't be much more difficult. Yeah. Too excited. Yeah, that was... We love to see that. I think I might actually want to... Yeah, that was stupid. Like, these goddamn time-wasting attacks. Okay, that might have been it for me. Yeah. I'm literally shaking right now. Oh, this is too intense for me. I need like one more hit. That's like the biggest problem about this. Oh my god. Dude. Do like a good attack. Of course he does now lightning 50 times in a row. Oh, fuck. An agonizing 42 deaths and 1 hour 40 minutes of playtime later, the Sanctuary Guardian finally falls and allows me to proceed further into the DLC. Fully exhausted and worried for what was to come, I pressed on. Quickly I made my way through the Royal Woods and without wasting too much time entered Artorias Arena, which will become my home for the next few hours. Okay. Yeah. Have you ever heard of the definition of insanity? It goes something like this. The definition of insanity is doing a nearly 2-minute run back and without a change of strategy, expecting that Artorias will be defeated this time around. What? He didn't hit me there. That was not a good one. Yeah, the swing around, that's the worst one. And I don't feel like that should have hit me. Can you do the chomping attacks, please? I like them. Come on. Come on. Not only did I decide to up my int at this point, I also decided to go right instead of left when entering the Royal Woods, since I was getting hit too often on my run back. With that change, it was time to lay Artorias to rest. Yeah, that's bullshit. Have you ever heard of the definition of insanity? Yeah, it was stupid. Yeah, that was deserved. So as you can see now, I do 6 damage. Okay. After a while, a viewer in chat suggested for me to dupe some souls and put them towards Faith so that I can use the Sunlight Blade. I was reluctant at first, however, desperate, I gave in and leveled up Faith as well. What was that? Yeah, that was stupid. Yeah, that was... I need a good opportunity to... to heal, as I wanted to say. The outcome did not change, however, and I was suggested to get the Flip Ring by the same viewer. Tired of repeating the outcome of the Sanctuary Guardian, I went to grab it. Ah, fuck. Wait, it didn't drop? And soon after returned to Artorias. That was stupid. Fuck. 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 What was that? Oh, come on. Ah, of course. Yeah, come on. Fuck. Exhausted and somewhat frustrated, I finished for the day and decided to do the rest of the DLC offline, so that I can have a bit more focus. Playing offline worked as well as I hoped. After only one try, I died. Yeah, it was more of the same. One thing I learned though, is that the deaths that sting way more aren't the ones where you almost get him, but the ones where you don't even land more than a hit or two. It just feels like a thrown away attempt. One thing I started to forget is that Artorias is not the only enemy. There is a silent, more deadly one around every corner, and it's named Gravity. A grueling 81 deaths, and 5 hours later, Artorias' soul is set free and my insanity dissipated.
With that, I've seen a lot of talks from people saying that no one can technically.
Looking back at it, I thought that it was taking me longer to get to this point. It was probably because of the run back, but I was convinced that I at least spent 12 hours on this and died 100 plus times. I wasn't too sure who I would tackle next. High off my win against Artorias though, I was optimistic that the rest would be a walk in the park. So even me making a few mistakes didn't faze me. I was flip-flopping between the bosses, but there was one thing I was certain of. Manus is going to break me. He hits hard, has 6665 HP, and has an even worse runback than Artorias. And all of this because of a single enemy. After fighting Manus a few times, I remembered that I haven't grabbed some essential items yet, so I went to grab them first. Since I didn't have any luck, I decided to take on Calamite, but first I needed to turn him into a chicken that can barely fly. Even if the damage I dealt wasn't much, I was still very confident in my ability to fight Calamite. His hitbox was nicer, his moves were more telegraphed, and he had a few more moves with huge gaps that I could use for recasting. His biggest downside, however, is the camera. I wasn't yet fully set on fighting him first though, which is why I gave Manus a few more tries. I started to acclimate to Manus' moveset, and I managed on average to get more damage in, but I started to worry about not having enough casts to get rid of his massive health pool. My courage started to falter. After every fight I was looking at the wiki, trying to find something that could give me an edge against Manus, but no matter how many times I looked, I found nothing that seemed useful to me. The only thing I could do at this point is to return to Calamite. After just 18 deaths, Calamite won't fly ever again. He really is a huge pushover, and really is only difficult because of his strange hitbox and horrible camera. Calamite in about 20, Sanctuary Guardian in about 40, and Artorias in about 80 tries. I just hope that Manus won't follow the sequence. Pumped and ready to defeat the last obstacle in this run, I headed back to Manus. Only for him to tell me, "Sit down and be humble, undead. There is no room for you to be cocky just for defeating an overcooked chicken." Well, let's see how long he can stay this smug. If you watch this far, try to guess how many deaths I will have against Manus. Write it on a piece of paper, just keep it in your head, or hey, write it in the comments. Here is a small spoiler though. I know that I can do it, I really do, but how long would it take me? Hours? Days? Weeks? Perhaps I can speed this process up with some help. Perhaps Sif will be the shining light in the darkness. That thought was foolish, however. While he provides a little help, he does almost no damage, and most of the time goes down before I can get Manus below 50% HP. Added to that is the fact that my damage is not linear, so once I run out of Power Within, Sunlight Blade, Crystal and Great Magic Weapon, I'll deal so little damage that every bar takes 3 times as long to deplete. And once I run out of regular magic weapon as well, just 1 bar takes me around 25 hits with and around 50 hits without resin. Each death made me lose hope in being able to finish this challenge. Even Tweely was not on my side, as he showed me no mercy. Of course, there existed some glimmers of hope in this endless darkness, but they would always be followed up with another volley of death. I threw myself against this wall that seemed far too massive to overcome. Over and over and over again. Until my humanity supply was drained. Sif couldn't help me anymore, and farming for more seemed futile. I am once again on my own. What am I missing? Where do I fail where others succeed? What am I doing wrong? I was wondering to myself. One final question popped into my mind. How does someone do it in a no-hit run? I then saw something, and it just clicked. The next morning, from the moment I left for work, All the way to when I arrived at home again, I was thinking about this strategy, calculating the amounts of hits I need to land, which attacks I can bait out, when to attack, how to finally defeat Manus, the father of the abyss. The setup is now as follows. Equipped I have the Straight-Sword Hilt, Pyromancy Flame, Grass Crest Shield, Ivory Talisman, Lingering Dragon Crest and Dogwood Grain Ring. Added to that, I also take the Dusk Crown Ring with me. Now to the fight. I cast Power Within before entering the Fog Gate, then enter and spam Sunlight Blade and pray that he doesn't attack immediately. Once it runs out, I swap to the TCC and replace the Dogwood Grain Ring with the Dusk Crown Ring. Next up I cast Crystal Magic Weapon, switch back to the Flip Ring and heal. With that I have about 3 minutes where I deal about 100 damage per hit and 5 minutes during which I deal around 75 per hit. Within these 8 minutes I need to land between 66 and 89 hits to finish Manus. Before this strategy I could get him down to about 3 or even 2 bars, but that is still 1.1k to 1.7k HP. Meaning, at the 13 damage I deal with Pine Resin, it still would have taken up to 130 hits. Thus, the amount of hits required has easily been cut in half. As you can see, I've been playing the fight in the background for a while now, so let's see how this ends. That's right, Manus finally, after 125 deaths, goes down at only the 3rd try with this new strategy. The biggest wall, and to me so far the hardest challenge in any Souls game I played, goes down. As the adrenaline pump is slowing down, and with my pulse leaving the triple digits, I see that the end is near, for my only remaining foe is an old, decrepit man, whose only will is to cling to his days of glory. It now came time for me to finish this run, time for me to step into the kiln of the first flame, and time to defeat Gwyn with my bare hilt. Hey Gwyn, it's finally time. Have you ever seen somebody with a straight sword hilt? Oh, see this? Holy shit. That's better damage than expected. Oops, I'm on top of the pillar. Didn't want to do that. Yeah. That was your mistake, Gwyn. I don't even want to parry him. Holy shit. Yeah, that was deserved. Oh, Gwyn. Yeah, I'm gonna punish you for that one. Yeah, shouldn't have done that. Because that was your death. There we go. Dark Souls Straight Sword Hill run completed with all bosses DLC included. Fuck this dude. Hell yeah. 1 minute and 27 seconds is all it took for Gwyn to succumb to the Straightsword Hilt. A weapon that was given to our hero not in jest, but with a deliberate intent. You may know it as the Straightsword Hilt, but I now know it as the Godslayer. And with that, the fire fades on this journey through Lordran, but still, a spark remains, waiting to reignite another. Well, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this first video of mine about my Straightsword Hilt run. Before you subscribe, you might now wonder, what's next? Well, I don't really know. I don't plan to really base my channel around the Soul series or challenge runs, even if I have a few I want to try, such as only using Skiff's pistol in Stalker 2. I also am continuing this same character, where I use a different weapon in every New Game Plus cycle, both streamed most Wednesdays on either YouTube, Twitch or Kick, and offline. I plan to do some shorter videos on these runs as well, just to quickly summarize them. But other than that, I do have some other videos planned, mostly focused around games, but in a more of an essay style, you know. But hey, I would greatly appreciate it if you subscribe and join me in the future in my streams as well. And if you want to leave me some criticism or anything else, then you can either use the comments, reach me on Twitter, add me on Discord, or send me an email. All can be found in the description below. With that, I can only say, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.